While it is true that narratives that shape the world are a reflection of it, it is also true that they can change the world as well by changing the way that people see it. To an individual, the definition of the world is created through one's understanding of it. Every story told draws influence from someone's own perception of the world, and every one of them that we receive shapes the way that we see and understand. Stories wield great power in influencing the beliefs and actions of people. Over the last few weeks, I have curated this presentation to explain to you this idea about narratives, using examples from the real and fictional worlds. Like the great storytellers and orators of the past, I too seek to shape the world that you live in. Whether or not I achieve that is for you to decide. Let's continue. Narratives add to and alter our perception of what the world is, and through this, they influence what we believe and how we act. The views of people prompting action is a central theme and storyline in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. This is evident in the two orations of the play, which both create narratives that reflect on the title character's death, offering two different perspectives. Brutus's oration is built to justify the murder of Caesar, and primarily uses logos to sway the audience. Using rhetorical question, had you rather Caesar be living and die as all slaves, than that Caesar were dead, to live as all free men? Brutus builds a narrative that explains Caesar's danger to Rome, and underlines Caesar's ambition as the reason for why he needed to be killed through juxtaposition. As he was valiant, I honor him, but as he was ambitious, I slew him. Contrasting Caesar's ambition with his noble qualities to emphasize the scale of Caesar's danger towards the audience and consolidate stability. In contrast, Antony's oration is designed to undermine Brutus's argument and spur the crowd to take revenge on Caesar's killers, utilizing pathos to emphasize his narrative. Throughout his oration, Antony combines various anecdotes with rhetorical questions in presenting his opposing view of Caesar. I thrice presented him with a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? The effectiveness of Antony's oration to create political unrest comes from his ability to persuade the audience through pathos, letting them decide the narrative based on his evidence. The repetition of honorable men to describe Brutus and the conspirators is made after every point he presents. The statement's initial meaning is lost and morphs into one of sarcasm over the course of the oration, visualizing his influence over the people. Through the orations of Julius Caesar, Shakespeare warns about the power of rhetoric and its uses, demonstrating the methods in which narratives are created to produce change by changing one's perception of the world, perhaps something that he may have had concerns about when he lived. Throughout history and into the modern day, the power of narratives in shaping beliefs has been used to incite great change in the world. I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King is a powerful example of narratives shaping the world, echoing the ideas set in Julius Caesar. All three modes of persuasion are present in King's call for economic and civil rights and the end to racism in the US. Ethos is seen in the wide use of references and allusions to pivotal documents in American history, such as the Declaration of Independence.
This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Appealing to the ideals of the American identity. The situation of African Americans is described with metaphors and imagery.
The life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination,
illustrating the unfulfilled promise of freedom and appealing to Logos. Reflecting on the world he lives in, King tells a narrative of the ideals of freedom and justice not being lived up to, of racial inequality in America, and goes further to extend his narrative into the future, captured by a combination of anaphora, emotive language, and powerfully voiced oration.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Illuminating the better future that he seeks for the nation. The influence of the speech is immeasurable. putting pressure on the advancement of civil rights legislation, and is recognized highly across the world with continuing relevance today. It reinforces the ideals of the fight for equality and rights, reminding people of the reason for their struggles. I Have a Dream embodies the ability that narratives have in changing the world. These two texts demonstrate how, through building our beliefs, narratives shape our world. Narratives can be used for something as small as the points of a YouTube video essay, but they can also be used to do great things, for purposes good, bad, and morally questionable. Therefore, it is important to be aware of the power of rhetoric and the ways in which it permeates the reality in which we live. I'll leave you with a few more questions before I go. What tales have you been influenced by? What stories have you been inspired by? And what myth are you living? Thank you.